Alright everybody, so how are we doing today? More on the Syrian situation from Turkey. And Erdogan, this is from Ruptly, Erdogan says Turkey won't stop operation in northern Syria despite threats as U.S. warns it can shut down Ankara's economy. Turkey's military will continue its campaign against Kurdish militants in northern Syria despite threats from the U.S. and allies. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said, insisting that operation targets not Kurds but terrorists. "We can't wait, as Turkey will never stop this fight, no matter what anyone says," Erdogan declared on Friday. "The U.S. and Europe both say we are killing Kurds. The Kurdish people are our brothers. Our struggle is against terror groups. Blah, blah, blah." Yeah, well, the funny thing about the term terrorist is, this is something I learned pretty quickly. Even when I was a teenager, I had always suspected, but the term terrorist is pretty far-reaching and it can be applied to a wide range of people. Primarily, the definition is literally just anyone who uses fear tactics to further a political agenda. Well, depending on your agenda, being a terrorist may not necessarily be a bad thing. It just depends on what it is. Being a terrorist doesn't make you necessarily the villain. However, what it does mean is that you are militarily weak. You use the fear tactics because you don't actually have the resources to actually win a war. You're using fear tactics to try and scare your opponent and maybe even segue yourself into guerrilla-type style warfare. That doesn't make you the villain, necessarily. Depends on your agenda. Now, if you're a domestic terrorist within a country, regardless of your tactics, you are a problem, regardless of your reasons. Domestic terrorism is highly disruptive and very dangerous. But international terrorism, if you're in a war with someone and you can't win outright, you may have no choice but to resort to terrorism. I am in no way, of course, excusing ISIS or any other group over there. Operation Peace Spring, the official name for Turkey's cross-border anti-terror campaign, launched earlier this week after U.S. President Donald Trump announced American troops will be pulling back from the northeast border. The Pentagon has slammed Turkey's impulsive action, even though the operation has been planned for some time, and the U.S. was initially supposed to help in the creation of a security zone along the border. Trump has signed an executive order allowing the Treasury Department to sanction any person associated with the government of Turkey. Any portion of the government, according to the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who claimed Trump was concerned about the potential target of civilians, civilian infrastructure, ethnic or religious minorities. "These are very powerful sanctions. We hope we don't have to use them, but we can shut down the Turkish economy if we need to." Turkey, a NATO member and an ally of the U.S., has been threatened with sanctions before after Ankara's purchase of S-400 missile defense systems from Russia. Washington threatened to impose retaliatory sanctions and kick the country out of the F-35 fighter jet program. And he could shut down Turkey with these sanctions. Because as I reported yesterday, the value of the lira, that is the value of the Turkish currency, the lira, has dropped to 15%, or at least has been projected to drop to 15% by the end of October. That's pretty low. I mean, that's worse off than what Greece was at in like 2009 or 2010, when they had their financial crash. This is completely hideous. Although, in Trump's situation, if I had made the decisions he did up to this point, here's what I would do. If Turkey gets too out of hand and starts really, really committing to this war and start hurting people, war crimes, this whole situation in Syria, if they continue to strike and destabilize, Trump may have no choice but to shut down their economy in order to rescue Syria and to rescue the Kurds. And yes, I totally realize what that would do. I totally understand the vulnerability to the Islamic State that would create. I completely understand. You don't think the Kurds don't want to put an end to ISIS? I mean, really? They would still have the Kurdish forces to contend with. And I'm not saying the Kurds would protect Turkey either. But it would be kind of hard to focus on one when you're being attacked by the other. you know, you're fighting with two people, one behind you, one in front of you. You focus on the one in front of you, who's no longer even fighting back. But then you got the other one behind you who's about ready to stab you in your kidney or something, stab you through the back. You might want to turn around and refocus. Either way, if Turkey crosses the line, maybe Trump should shut their economy down for a little while. Make his reasons clear and maybe offer to pick them back up afterwards. It's like, I'm sorry, we can't let you do this. I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm saying, who knows. Anyway, peace.